international competition can be good for our country.
The PSOJ and the Gleaner Company proudly present 50 under 50 business leaders shaping Jamaica's future.
We can't allow the world to write the story for us.
Paying tribute to 50 magnificent years of independence.
Tailor something that is applicable to Jamaica.
Throwing the spotlight on 50 Jamaican business leaders.
We have been able to be competitive with our global partners.
All under the age of 50.
I just made this 50 under 50, right?
It's a phenomenal honor.
The unique vision of these outstanding individuals.
I think entrepreneurship can be taught.
All trailblazers in their respective fields.
Bartending is a profession which needs to be recognized.
Will no doubt redefine Jamaica's civic and business landscape in the foreseeable future. We salute them.
I'm Sandra Glasgow, CEO of the PSOJ. I'm talking with another 5 of the 50 under 50 business leaders shaping Jamaica's future. We have the techies today. Guys, welcome. With us are Andrew Pearman, Chief Executive Officer of the Anbel Group, Stephen Spence, Managing Director of SMS Communication, Michelle English, President of Columbus Communications, Jamaica, Dr. Paris Liaoyi, Director of the Mona Geoinformatics Institute, and Ingrid Riley, founder of Connectimas. It's great to have you all. So I'm going to start with a quote from the head of the World Bank in Jamaica, Giorgio Valentini. He spoke at a seminar that the PSOJ hosted earlier this year. He said, "What Jamaica needs is a more diverse, equitable, disruptive, and competitive innovation system to reach the levels of productivity and competitiveness required by the global economy, encourage collaboration and technology transfer amongst Jamaicans, industries, and global players, and increase knowledge generation and absorption for advanced human capital formation." That's quite a mouthful. Well, Stephen, is he right?
Absolutely. I believe Jamaica, whether or not you want to believe it, is way above many, many countries in terms of the accessibility to ICT and what it offers, the technologies that it offers. My issue is that seemingly quite a number of persons who, the cohort of this industry, would rather to hold things to themselves rather than sharing. Secondly, I am a part of a group, and when you hear the ideas that come out, when you hear what they think, they are pregnant with ideas. But the birth of these ideas is so dependent on the infrastructure and funding that particular infrastructure. And that's where venture capitalists are, if you will, absent. And thirdly, I think what affects this and why that quote is so true, we have an idea of a campaign or something we want to bring to the providers. When they come to you and say, revenue share being 75-25, meaning 75 going to them, now, these are not made up figures. These are actual figures they give you. You cannot survive. And that great idea that you have is stalled, or you try to get some funding somewhere else.
You talked about infrastructure, and Michelle, you're the perfect person to jump in now. How is Flow, Columbus Communications, contributing to the development of the technology sector in Jamaica?
Well, I think it does go back to our infrastructure, Sandra. And I mean, we view ourselves as enablers, and our mission is to transform countries, businesses, and lives through the technology. And what we're responsible for is putting in place the fiber optic infrastructure that facilitates the latest and greatest innovations and applications and ideas and so on, and just ensuring that whatever we build in a country is going to be able to facilitate that kind of development, and it goes beyond the actual technology and the infrastructure, and it is working with businesses, and it's working with governments in order to put in place the necessary structures that support the sector. So things like in the education sector, I mean, we firmly believe that for the country to develop, and we need to take a long-term view. And to take a long-term view, you have to look at your education system and how the technology can really play a significant part in improving the level of education. It's getting all of the people in the country ready to embrace the technology. So we put the infrastructure in place, but we work with the government and businesses to help facilitate the growth of the industry as well.
Paris, you had a very innovative unit at the University of the West Indies. What is your vision for how technology can transform the Jamaican economy?
Ultimately, we need to make sure that technology changes, transforms processes, how we do and go about our everyday activities. However, one of the things that we do at the Institute at the university is very important in the application of technology in other areas outside of technology. In science, in traditional sciences, where the application of technology allows for things to be done much faster, much more quicker, and as well as allow for greater derivative benefits from the immediate results. You're not looking at technology for the sake of technology, and that's important. What is the mission? Aim for the mission. The technology is the tool.
Andrew, you've been quoted as saying that a digital Jamaica is the key to industrial strength and competitiveness across all sectors. Can you expand on that?
Okay, I believe that when we talk about a digital Jamaica, we're looking at basically ICT in terms of, again, the infrastructure. What do we have that will facilitate communication and technology? Now, we have been at ANBEL beneficiaries of government policy starting in the late 1990s. In fact, that governs everything we do. Every entity that we've started, it has involved some form of ICT. And this is the way for our government to become more efficient and for us as businesses and consumers to be more efficient.
You know, some people have said that the industry is fragmented. There is no one body that represents the major players. Is this a problem, do you think?
I like the decentralized everybody doing their bit in different parts of the sector. Government must play their role in terms of legislation and facilitation and pretty much stay out of the way and allow for entrepreneurs and problem solvers to actually use what is available and leverage their ideas and their digital skills to create businesses. Government should set certain policies, should facilitate, then step out of the way and allow entrepreneurs to plug in, use infrastructure, use their skills, leverage their ideas, start startups, create jobs, and of course, get on to helping the economy grow.
We all tend to have our own think tank and our own little groups doing anything.
Yep.
But I think there still needs to be a coming together of all these groups and for us to even advise the government on a national policy and bring us all together while we work individually, of course, on certain levels.
It's a great idea. Yeah. Now let's amalgamate, let's let this thing, get this thing moving, and that's what is missing. We speak a lot, but our actions are lacking. And if
what
we
is
can...
it we need to do? I'm not,
Well, there's a real lack of policy direction fundamentally around the whole ICT sector. What we've seen is improved access because you have, the likes of Columbus and other players on the mobile side that are building out network in Jamaica, so we have access. But access alone is not going to make a difference. It's that framework. It's people understanding how they can use it to improve their lives, to access new markets. How do we use it to, bring investment into the country?
And I think you're right, Michelle, because there's so much more government could be doing, so much more that, citizens could avail themselves of services using the technology. And it isn't happening.
The role of government in terms of itself adopting ICT to achieve its own objectives. And I'm sort of splitting hairs right now with Andrew in terms of an umbrella group to represent interest and to facilitate growth. But that's it. Really, I support Ingrid. Get out of the way. Allow innovators to innovate.
I happen to be on the board of CETO, which is supposed to be in charge of ICT, how government actually use ICT and how they actually set policy for the rest of, and they're going through some changes. So I'm a bit hopeful because there's some things that are going on. There are actually people who are involved in the process who understands the industry and who wants to see certain things happening in the industry. And we do have ministers who are very passionate and they really want to set things in place and get out of the way.
Now, Ingrid, you have been a pioneer in developing technopreneurship in Jamaica. For a long time. Is your work over these many years paying off?
I'm very, very excited. We've seen the growth. And we're actually on par. When I've gone to events in New York and London in different markets, and we actually tell them, listen, on average, we have 100 to 150 people attending our meetups. We have between 3 and 10 startups pitching their big ideas. We have individuals building apps. They're building e-commerce things. They're actually doing business with the rest of the world right here in Jamaica, using their laptop, using the robust 100 meg from their home office, right? They're actually doing stuff. We're on par with what is happening, bubbling up like soup in Europe, bubbling up like soup in other parts of the United States.
The role of the university as an incumbent university employee, our role in terms of capacity building to feed that is one. But the second thing is also to not only generate the tech and scientific caliber, but also to marry it with the proper business practices and operational practices, the real world practices that's out there. One of the problems we face in terms of overqualified graduates coming out into the working world is the fact that we really are not properly plugged in. There's a role for the lower skilled jobs. There's also a role for the higher skills one as well. It's a totally vertical integrated column that we as Jamaicans can provide that to any of the investors coming in, as well as going out there to become net exporters of tech.
And undoubtedly, I think the opportunities for creating new products and services are there. What are the other limitations? What about financing?
We have zero angel and venture capital culture here. Again, this is where government and policy comes in. Why not create an incentive like what they've done in London, where any company or individual who spends, who invests in a company like $100,000 per tax year, they get a 50% tax break of equal to the amount that of the invested amount, and they can actually invest that in startups. That alone is actually helping like crazy the London startup scene, because a lot more startups, tech entrepreneurs, can now get from $10,000 up to whatever it is to actually start to test their ideas.
As we wrap up, can you just tell me what it means to be named among the under 50 business leaders shaping Jamaica's future?
I'm indeed humbled at it. It's nice to be recognized, and kudos to the team at PSOJ and the sponsors for making this happen.
To be named in this group is more than expected. I think the idea that PSOJ has is great, and what I'd want to say too is that persons outside of the group of 50, they're doing their part too, and their hands need to be lifted up as well.
Michelle, you're not born in Jamaica, but you're certainly contributing.
It's my adopted country as well. I mean, it's a wonderful honor when I look at, all of the people who've been chosen as part of this 50 under 50, and I find myself in their company. It's a phenomenal honor.
I'm thankful to definitely be honored in this way, because it also allows me to leverage this platform for my mission, which is tech entrepreneurship, driving tech entrepreneurship, so that anybody who is going to high school or leaving the college can know that it's not just about getting good grades, get a job. It's about, yes, getting good grades, learning new different kinds of skills, digital skills, to go and create your own job or to actually launch a startup.
We're part of a broader, larger team. Jamaica is not going to be transformed by one person. And I think that we need to realize this. You certainly realize it. I realize it more now. And it's something that is certainly a step in the right direction. I believe Jamaica is going forward. It's just not going to go forward in one day or 12 months even, Andrew. But it's going forward. And that's what we need to look forward to the next 50.
Well, thank you so much. So you've met the techies. Join us again as we meet another set of the 50 under 50 business leaders shaping Jamaica's future. I'm Sandra Glasgow.